Yes. Good evening, students. How are you, students? I expect that your preparation is now going on in full swing, not only of auditing but also of other subjects. Considering whether you are appearing only for second group or both groups. Yes. So welcome once again to all of you. Students, today we shall be revising chapter 5, that is audit of items of financial statements. Lengthwise, this is also one of the lengthiest chapters, like chapter 4, audit evidence. But basically, this chapter revolves around audit procedures. It is not uh, based upon one or few specific audit standards or standards on auditing. Rather, it takes you into practical field by suggesting appropriate audit procedures in respect of verification of various items which are appearing in financial statements of an entity. So you understand, students, clearly what the chapter is all about, because see, before you are preparing about a chapter, before you are reading a chapter, you should know what the chapter is all about. What topics does it cover? What is its scope? Obviously, only then you can do justice to it, isn't it? So briefly, before doing questions, I shall uh, want to discuss few things about this chapter. Students, again, I am repeating it, although this chapter is very lengthy and some students might find it cumbersome, but it is, and about 3 questions are always coming, are always expected from this chapter. But still, I think that it is very easy to score marks in this chapter. See, this chapter is based upon 4 things. One is provisions of Companies Act 2013. Some provisions. Okay. Some provisions, not all. Some relevant provisions, which you would find in your module. And knowledge of Schedule 3 of Companies Act, which you have read in your accountancy classes. And third is basic accounting knowledge. Along with understanding of accounting standards, which you have already read in your accountancy classes. Because you would find in this chapter reference to various accounting standards. And fourth is audit procedures themselves. So you would find that everything which is stated in this chapter revolves around these 4 things. So what would be the best way to study this chapter. So I would advise you to go through and remember the requirement of Schedule 3 of Companies Act, which is there in your module for accountancy, and understand the instructions for preparation of balance sheet uh, and profit and loss account and disclosure requirements which are stated there. Accounting standards you have already read, and provisions of Companies Act, basically some provisions which are there in this chapter you have already read while doing your company law. So the balance remains, that is auditing part, audit procedures. Now, as I have been telling you, that audit procedures are methods by which an auditor obtains audit evidence. So, first of all, if in examination conditions you are asked to write about audit procedures regarding something, then first of all understand what that financial item is in respect of which audit procedures are being asked in the examination, and which assertion the auditor is checking in respect of which audit procedures are being asked. Now, it is at these 2 points that students are making mistakes. So either they are not understanding the relevant assertion for which the audit procedures are being asked about, or they are not fully conversant with the nature of item of financial statement which is being asked for in the exam. Clear, students? Yes. Is that point clear? Please drop mail, students. Are you understanding what I am trying to say? It is very, very important. So say in exams, you are not able to remember many points which are there in your module. But if you have understood what that item is all about, what the assertion says, what is the meaning of that assertion which is being asked for in the exams, so obviously you can write audit procedures yourself. It is sometimes it so happens that you go blank. It is quite natural because you have learned so many things, you have remembered so many things. There is a burden, there is pressure upon you, and you suddenly go blank while writing the answer. You do not remember anything. However, if the nature of financial statement item is clear to you, the assertion being asked, its nature, its meaning is clear to you, then you can yourself write 4-5 points relating to audit procedures. And trust me, students, these points would logically be the same, or would be nearing the same what you have read in your modules, what you have studied in your module. Clear? Yes. Yes, students, clear? So students, basically the assertions which you have read in chapter 4, all those assertions which you have read in chapter 4 relating to class of transactions, relating to account balances, relating to presentation and disclosure. Now these have been explained in context of various items which usually appear in financial statements of an entity, and with particular reference to companies. Yes. Yes, students, tell me you are getting through what I am trying to convey to you. Yes, only Harshit is responding. What about others? I think 8, 10 people are on YouTube also. Yes, yes, students, drop mails whether you are understanding what I'm trying to convey. It is very, very important for you to score well in your exams. Yes, apart from Harshit, other students are also there. Please drop a mail so that I get a confirmation that you are getting the point which I am trying to convey to you. So students, we will quickly go through assertions also once again, which you have read in chapter 4. Now see, everything in financial statements relates to these two things, relates to these three things. So if you see the balance sheet of an entity, so either there will be transactions which would be reflected in profit and loss account, or there will be account balances which would be reflected on the face of balance sheet, like like water account balances, like PPE items, like inventories, like trade receivables, like trade payables, like cash and cash equivalents. These are all account balances. And the items which you see in profit and loss account, in statement of profit and loss, these are transactions. These are different type of transactions, like transactions relating to income, like transaction relating to expenditure, transaction related to purchase, transactions related to various other expenditures, amortization charge, depreciation charge. And besides that, third thing is disclosure, presentation and disclosure. Now, how the things are presented and how the information is disclosed, it should be in accordance uh, with the law which is applicable to a particular entity. It should be in accordance with the financial reporting framework. So these are basically three things in financial statements. So these are three categories. Now in auditing, as I told you last time, that during the course of audit, an auditor basically tests, verifies assertions. So like I told you that if management is saying my sale is 10 crore, so management is saying that it believes that its sale is 10 crores and that figure is correct, that sales have actually taken place. These are bona fide sales and these have been correctly classified in sales account and the sales are complete. All the sales which should have been recorded have been recorded. So based upon this, there are three categories of assertions, which you have already read in chapter 4. So there are different names of those assertions. Like in respect of transactions, we call these as occurrence, completeness, accuracy, cutoff, and classification. So occurrence is basically that the transaction has occurred and it belongs to the entity. So you have read all this. I am just trying to recapitulate it little bit. Completeness is that whatever should have been recorded has been recorded. Nothing is left out. Like I had given you an example of sales. Accuracy means that correct amounts have been recorded. Cutoff means that these have been recorded in a proper time period in the year in which these should have been recorded. And classification is that they have been classified properly under respective heads of accounts. But say in case of account balances, we call it not as occurrence but as existence. Say if a debtor balance is there in the balance sheet, then we say that debtor balance exists. So how this debtor balance has been created? Obviously, it has been created by virtue of sales transactions having taken place and some payments being received from the party, from the debtor. It is net effect of all these two things. So in respect of balances, we say that it exists. Whereas in case of transaction, we say that it occurs. Okay. And in case of completeness, the nomenclature is same in both in respect of classes of transactions and events, and in account balances, nomenclature is same, completeness. And in respect of account balances, there is another assertion, that is rights and obligation. So what is rights and obligation? Rights means like you have rights in an asset. Like suppose if there is machinery appearing in the balance sheet of an entity, so it means that machinery belongs to the entity. That entity has some right over it. Okay. Or say if inventories are appearing in balance sheet of an entity, so it is an example of account balance. So obviously the inventories belong to the entity. It belongs to the organization, and that organization, that entity has rights over it. And similarly, in case of liabilities, liabilities balance, the entity has obligation towards it. Like suppose in case of trade balances, trade payables, the entity has an obligation to pay to the trade creditors, to the trade payables. Clear, guys? So another assertion relating to account balances is valuation and allocation. So valuation means the account balances are properly valued. Like say inventories are properly valued according to the relevant accounting standards, considering the method of valuation employed in accordance with AS2. Say debtors, trade receivables, these are also properly valued. Now, what is the meaning of valuation in context of trade receivables? Yes, can anybody tell me? What is the meaning of valuation in context of trade receivables? Yes, students. What is the meaning of valuation in context of trade receivables? Anyone? When we say that trade receivables are properly valued, what does it basically mean? Students, if you do not have answers to these simple questions, you won't be able to write. It means that there is no clarity in your minds, and you would end up jumbling the things, writing wrong answers, writing irrelevant things. Yes, Harshit, but you have to. It is not so. It is not proper what you are writing. Valuation means, say, when sales have taken place, you have debited the party. at the amount which sales have taken place. Now, whether the amount is recoverable, or say if the amount is outstanding for quite some time, then there should be provision. Then there should be a provision should have been made. Yes, Sahil, please respond on BOS mail if you are able to. So this was basically I was trying to ask that what is the meaning of valuation here? But still you are writing that they are properly valued and verified. This is what I am asking. What is valuation in context of debtors? So this is meaning of valuation which I have explained to you. Okay. So similarly, in context of presentation and disclosures, these are the names of assertions similar to account balances, with one more adding up: classification and understandability. That the disclosures are made so that they are clearly understandable to the users in respect of different items. Clear, students? So I have given you an overview of assertion. Now, what is this chapter 5 all about? Or what type of questions are being asked by the ICAI as far as this chapter is concerned? So they are asking you to write audit procedures in respect of various assertions, like the auditor is testing this thing. They would make a situation that the auditor is testing this thing, and how as an auditor you would verify. So what audit procedures, which audit procedures would you be applying? So unless you know what does this item convey, financial item convey, so how you can write audit procedures about it? You can't. Similarly, if you do not know the meaning of assertion which is explained in that situation, you can't write correct audit procedures. You may write irrelevant audit procedures. Clear? So understanding these things is very, very important. It forms the base of this chapter. Otherwise, if you do not understand these things, and also read schedule 3, students. Remember the key points in schedule 3. What are disclosure requirements? Because schedule 3, as you know, is applicable to companies. So many a times question is also coming on disclosure requirements. So you have already read in your accounts. So you just have to go through it again and remember. Clear? So when you are armed with these things, so the answers to questions which are being asked for in the exams would automatically follow. Yes, guys, clear? Is the point clear to you? Yes, friends. Okay. So let us start with some questions. Now read this question 1. CAT is statutory auditor of QRS Limited while performing testing of additions during the year. What he is doing? Testing of additions. So what does this mean? That if you read the below 3 points, you would understand that it is asking about PPE items. So there have been addition to PPE items, like a new building may have been constructed, some plant and machinery may have come in, some new machinery may have been installed. Okay. So it is asking all PPE, all PPE. So PPE includes land, building, machinery, other fixed assets like office equipments are in the name of entity he is auditing. So say if you are auditing XYZ Limited, so all PPE items are in name of XYZ Limited. For all additions to land and building in particular, the auditor desires to have concrete, desires to be concrete about the ownership, that the ownership is proper, that ownership is bona fide. So CAT also wants to know whether the entity has valid legal ownership rights over the PPE, where it is kept as security for any borrowings. So sometimes it so happens that the company or the entity has availed some borrowing, some term loans, some cash credit facilities, some credit facilities from bankers. So they are keeping the original documents with the bankers as part of lending arrangement. So advise the auditor CAT on the audit procedures to be undertaken by him to establish the rights and obligation of the entity over the PPE. So audit procedure means what the auditor is doing. Simply understand this. Very simple. So, but how he is going to check rights and obligations of the entity of various items in PPE? So I have told you PPE includes land, building, machinery, other fixed assets, and other. For land and building, it is a second point, it is asking specifically, and it is also asking specifically or in respect of ownership rights over PPE, where it is kept as security for borrowings. Yes, so how you are going to write? Yes, friends, how you are going to write? Yes, Harshit has given answer. Today only Harshit is responding. All others seem to be gone in hibernation mode. Yes. Anybody else? Students, just make procedures from your common sense. I can assure you that you would be writing correctly. Yes. Yes, anybody else? Students, how you would verify rights and obligations assertions over PPE items? This is what the question is uh, demanding from you. If you are not able to write full lines, just write pointers. Yes, students. Anybody else? None. So yes, Harshit, you have written correctly. So like for different PP items, obviously you would be checking all the bills, whether the bills are in their name, in the name of the company. It shows um, ownership. And for land and building in particular, obviously title deed, sale deed has to be checked. This gives the evidence that um, land is owned by the entity. And if the land is kept as security with bankers, then since original papers would be with the bankers, original documents, original title deeds would be with the bankers. So, yes, Ms. Bhavesh, you are also writing correctly, check title deed. So the auditor can seek confirmation from bankers. So what is the answer? These are the things now. Look, these are not the rocket science. Verify that all purchase invoices, all PPE purchase invoices are in the name of the entity. So if there is machinery purchased, so obviously the invoice, the bill of machinery would be in the name of the company, would be in the name of entity. So how simple it was. For additions to land and building, say if new land has been purchased during the year, if the new land has been acquired, then check the title deed, sale deed, conveyance deed, whatever you write is correct. That the entity has the legal and valid ownership. And in case suppose the title deeds are not available with the entity, then seek confirmation from the respective lenders. So ask the management to seek confirmation from the respective lenders who are holding the title deeds. And the auditor should also verify the register of charges. So obviously, if you have taken credit facilities from bank, if you have taken loan from bank, so you would be mortgaging your securities, land, building, etc., or other PP items with banks. So charge would have been created in accordance with the provisions of Companies Act. So you can verify register of charges. So obviously, you create a charge of something if you own it, isn't it? So you are filing a charge with ROC if you own that thing. Clear? If you have rights and obligations over that thing. Yes, friends, is it clear? Yes, Ms. Bhavesh Chowala, is it clear? Okay. So let us move to now second question. Now this question, students, again, this is based upon your knowledge of provision, relevant provision of Companies Act 2013. So WEQ Limited has issued shares for cash at a premium in accordance with provisions of Section 52 of Companies Act. The company is required to transfer the premium received from the issue of shares to a separate account, security premiums account. This you have read. So what are the specific application allowed for funds in securities premium account? So the question is basically a question based upon the provisions of Companies Act. It is just asking you to write provisions of Section 52 where how securities premium accounts can be used. Yes, you remember, students, in what manner security premium account can be used. So while verifying security, while checking security premium account, the auditor would be seeing whether the provision of Companies Act are being followed or not? Yes. Yes, students. Do you remember any two, three, even one application? Yes, waiting for your responses. Yes, Miss Mansoori, you are right. Can be used to write off preliminary expenses, to issue bonus shares. Yes, you are right. So there are 4 or 5 areas towards issue as fully paid bonus shares, in writing of preliminary expenses of the company, to purchase its own shares, in writing of commission paid or discount allowed on issue of shares or debentures of the company, in providing for premium payable on the redemption of any redeemable preference shares or debentures. So totally law-based question. This you have to write. So there are few sections which are there in your module which have been discussed. So these sections, these law provisions, you have to remember, keep in mind as far as this chapter is concerned. Clear? Great. Now see question number 3. SRT Private Limited, based in Mumbai, is engaged in export of brassware goods. Brassware goods, you understand, students? Brassware goods, small, like some fancy items made of brass. Okay. So the company has huge export receivables as on 31st March 24. So obviously it is exporting. So receivables are also export receivables. It means that the company is exporting to foreign buyers, company is selling to foreign buyers. So export receivables would also be in name of foreign buyers, to whom it has exported, to whom it has sold. So it is also analyzed from export sales account of the company that large number of small shipments were dispatched daily during the month of March 24. So like every day shipments are going in the month of March 24. Small value, say $2,000, say $5,000, like that. Say $10,000. These are small shipments. Okay. No, Harshit, do not jump to the conclusion. Just see what the auditor, what the questioning is about. The auditor is ensuring that all goods dispatched prior to the year end have been invoiced. Invoiced, it means, say the goods have been dispatched on 31st March, okay, or on 30th March, but say whether its invoice is raised or not. So this he wants to check. So which assertion concerning trade receivables is being verified? So he wants to check that all the trade receivables are complete, that whatever should have been recorded has been recorded as on 31st March 24. Okay. So list out few audit procedures. Now how you would check this? How you would check this? Now how you would check this? How would you verify this? Just from your own common sense, you can write points. Make a beginning. Yes, Miss Mansoori, Miss Bhavesh. What specific things you would be doing as an auditor to verify this assertion, to verify that whatever say trade receivables are coming in the balance sheet, say of rupees 5 crore, that this 5 crore figure is rupees 5 should have been 5 crore only. It is not, uh, it is correct. Which steps, which procedures you would perform? Yes, quickly, students, write from your own common sense. Apply your own mind. Think over it and see how completeness is okay, Miss Mansoori. Procedures. Now you have to write procedures. Say if this question carries 5 marks, so completeness would carry only 1 mark. So 4 marks would be about procedures. Yes, Harshit. Yes, right. Check invoices of last few days of year. Okay. And correlate it with dispatch records. So you are writing half point. So if you correlate it with dispatch records, you would see that whatever has gone out from company's premises during last days, its corresponding invoice has been raised. Only then trade receivable is okay. What else? Yes, Ms. Mansoori, Harshit, Ms. Bhavesh, other points which you can think of, students. So see, just visualize, just imagine that you are sitting in an export house. Okay, the export house is engaged in exporting goods. So how you are going to verify? Yes, Arshit, yes, nice. Shipment records made by the company. So check that in respect of invoices raised in last few days, goods have been actually dispatched and not lying with the company. This is another point. You have also to ensure that invoices which have been raised, the goods in respect of same have been dispatched. Okay, and for the goods which have been dispatched, invoices have also been raised. Okay, test invoices listed in receivable report. That's true. Select few invoices from the account receivable aging report. So there is an aging report also. Aging is also given in the financial statements as far as trade receivables are concerned. It is also there for trade payables. So you can trace some invoices forming part of that aging balances to see that customer is correct, correct amount is there, correct date is there. Okay. Match invoices to shipping dispatch log. This this we have discussed. This Harshit has also written. Okay. So these type of things you have to write. Okay. Now see question number 4. During the audit of HST Limited, CA Mukund observed a significant volume of unsold electronic parts as inventory that had remained stagnant for more than 2 years. Now some inventory is lying with the company which is old. Stagnant means which is stale. So if you do not eat food for for a day, then it becomes stagnant, it becomes stale. So similarly, the stock which is old becomes obsolete because it might not be easily sellable. And electronic items, as you know, the models change regularly in short period of time, like models of fridges, TVs. Okay, these are going change undergoing change very rapidly. Okay, mobiles. So he noted that company was facing difficulty selling these items due to the changes in the market. Additionally, some parts are damaged. So it is clearly written that some parts are damaged, others were discontinued models. Now some models are no longer in business. CA Mukund also ensured that inventory was accurately valued. So he is ensuring that inventory was valued accurately. You are required to outline the procedures, audit procedures that are generally auditing such inventories. So it is asking you to write auditing procedures in respect of items which are old, which are damaged. So how you as an auditor would see that um, that if you find some damaged, obsolete items, what would you do about these things? First, how you will ensure and which procedures you are going to apply. Yes, just write, think from your common sense. Yes, Ms. Mansoori, Bhavesh. Yes, students, make some effort from your laptops. Yes, calculate the value of inventory. Yes, Ms. Mansoori, but how? The point is how. These are slow moving goods are separately recorded. Harshit, you are saying. Yes. So, but you are not writing specific things, students. So first of all, yes, Harshit, you are now you are writing correctly that these are properly counted during physical count. So obviously, you first of all you would be asking management that how you have arrived at this uh, damaged inventory. So have you physically verified it? So you would be asking for documentation. दिखाओ आपने कब किया था, क्या डिटेल है उसकी. Tell us about the details. Show me the records. Now follow up for items that are obsolete and see what is their possible realization value. So as per AS2, these should be valued according to cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. So if these are valued at cost, so obviously these are overstated. So these may have to be written down to their net realizable value. Provision would required to be made. Okay, calculate inventory turnover ratio. This will be also discussing further. Verify the correct application of lower of cost or net realizable value principles. Clear? So these are say if you hold that thing properly, if you understand that thing properly, then I am sure you would be able to, if you have studied the chapter 2-3 times, I am sure you would be able to write 3-4 relevant points at least. Okay. See question number 5. Messrs. AR and Associates have been appointed statutory auditors of Future Limited. You are auditors of a company, Future Limited, a company engaged in business of manufacturing of hardware products. Now, company is manufacturing hardware products like, say, nuts, bolts, okay, locks, chains. These are all hardware products, handles. They are analyzing the monthly trends for other expenses like rent, power and fuel, repairs, and are also verifying attribute of such expenses. So one thing they are doing monthly trends. Okay, but the question is not asking you about these monthly trends. The question is not about analytical procedures. See, remember the examiner is playing, the paper setter is might play googly on you. And they are also verifying attributes of such type of expenses. Attribute means features, criteria. So list down attributes for verifying such expenses. Say you are verifying power and fuel, repair expenses in a company. Okay, rent you are verifying. So while verifying these expenses, like while verifying repair bills, what you would keep in mind? Or for that matter, for verifying any expenditure, what things you are going to apply, what things you would keep in mind, those you have to write. Suppose there is a bill in front of you, damn it, it may relate to anything. Okay, say we assume that it is a repair bill. So by seeing that piece of paper, by seeing that bill, what you would find out from that bill, so that you know that it has been properly entered in your books of accounts, in accounting records. No, Harshit, it monthly trend with other companies, that is just written in the question for passing reference. So just now try to focus upon what I'm trying to say. There is a bill before you. Just imagine that there is a bill in your hands. It is a repair bill. What things you would be seeing? You are conducting audit. What things you would be seeing in that bill when verifying it with books of accounts? Just imagine, just visualize. Yes, Ms. Mansoori, you are writing something completely recorded. If expense actually incurred, that can be again from the documents. You can't go back in the time. Okay. Yes, Ms. Mansoori, you are little bit right, coming on the track. Think again of from this perspective. Yes, Harshit. Current year bills with previous bills is okay, Harshit. I am just telling you, just bring a picture of a bill in your mind, of a single bill. What things you would verify, students? These are very, very simple. Very, very simple. Yes. Check it is revenue expenditure. Yes, correct. This is one of the prime considerations. What else? The bill should be in the name of the entity. Another thing important. The bill should be in the name of the company. How you can forget it? Isn't it that simple? Bill should be in the name of the company. And the description in the bill obviously should relate to revenue expenditure, not to capital expenditure. What else? What else, students? Yes, guys. Yes, Harshit. Now your mind is coming on right track. Dated for the current year. The date should belong to the current year. How simple. Just free marks. And this question, I'm telling you, this has once come in this paper, in the auditing papers. 2, 3 attempts back, this question had come. Okay. So how simple it is. Whether the expenditure pertained to current period, whether the expenditure qualified as revenue expenditure, whether the expenditure had a valid supporting document, third party invoice, say if you are seeing a voucher, okay, whether the expenditure is classified under correct expense head, and whether the expenditure has been authorized and approved, whether the expenditure was in relation to business or not. So like, see, now the answer was not before you, but still you have yourself made 2, 3 points which are correct. So if you, but in examination conditions, you don't have that much time, that much liberty. So obviously, if you have read it, so somewhere something would click in your mind. Okay. Yes, is it clear, students? You are getting it? You are getting it, students, what I am trying to say. Yes, see question number 6. CA Karan wants to test the completeness assertion relating to intangible assets reflected in financial statements of a company. State audit procedures. Now, how you would be verifying that intangible assets which are reflected in the balance sheet, these are complete. That these all intangible assets which should have been recorded have been recorded. This is the meaning of completeness. So, how to kickstart your mind in such questions? When completeness is written, immediately your mind should go to the meaning of completeness. What was completeness? All items which should have been recorded have been recorded. Now, fill this here. CA Karan wants to test that all intangible items which should have been recorded have been recorded. Now, I want to verify this. How I am going to verify this? Intangible assets, you know already, like patents, which have no physical substance, computer software. How you are going to verify completeness assertion relating to intangible assets? Which accounting standard deals with it? Yes, students, which accounting standard deals with it? Oh, Ms. Mansoori, you have to write specific procedures. How you are going to verify? Procedures means methods. Simply writing this won't serve the purpose. Which accounting standard deals with intangible assets? Yes, Krishna Shah, you are comparing opening balances, addition and closing balances. That is correct. AS 26, that is also correct. So by giving a reference to AS 26, you can write a lot of things. Like, so obviously there would be a schedule of intangible assets showing opening balances, addition, deletion, closing balances. So first of all, you would perform a procedure, tally the closing balances to the entity's books of accounts from the schedule. Check arithmetical accuracy of movement in intangible asset schedule. Its calculations are correct. Opening plus addition minus deletion is equal to that it is arithmetically accurate. and say new assets have been added. So you would see that whether it meets all the criteria which are there in AS 26 regarding recognition as an intangible asset. Like say if an entity has incurred expenditure on research, then obviously it is not to be recognized as an intangible asset. It is to be treated as an expense, not as an asset. Okay. So like this, verify that uh, acquisitions have been approved by appropriate authority. Internal processes were followed for procuring intangible assets if these have been procured from outside. So these things. Yes, Harshit, you are right. Research point, you are writing correctly. So if you say if the question carries 4 marks and you are able to write 4 or 5 procedures, then it's okay. You are going to get full credit. If all the points are right, you are going to get full credit. Now see, again, this question is, I'm leaving it. It is similar to question 1, which we had done. Okay, same question which we had done earlier at start, that rights and obligation over PPE items. It is particularly asking about immovable property, land and building. So only asking about land and building. Okay. See question number 8. Now, as statutory auditor of Guinea Limited, you need to verify if the company has valid legal ownership rights of the inventories recorded in balance sheets. Now, you are auditor of a company. It is a manufacturing company. There are huge inventories. Say inventories of 15 crores are reflected in the balance sheet. Now, you want to test that and inventories belong to the company. That company has rights over the inventories. You are performing testing the rights assertion. Now, which audit procedure you would perform to verify company's ownership of inventories, including items stored at third-party locations? It means, what does this mean? This means that some inventories may be lying with third parties for job work, like the entity has sent some material for job work to the third parties, and this has not yet come back as on balance sheet date, and it is still lying with the third parties in raw material form or in partly in finished goods or in work in progress form. So the question is asking from you nothing about valuation. It is asking from you how you are going to verify that inventories are owned by the entity, that entity has rights over entity has rights over inventories. Again, some students may write points about valuation, some students may write about other crazy things. It won't get you any mark, students. Now here in this question, you have to write only about ownership, how you are going to verify. Yes, yes, Harshit, Ms. Mansoori, correct. You are on right tracks. So you take a sample, you check few invoices. These should be in the name of the entity. This is going to establish the rights. Okay. External confirmation from the third party. That is also correct. If the stocks are lying with the third party, then external confirmation. Inspection. Okay. So on these lines. Examine invoices for ownership. Obtain confirmation from significant. examine client correspondence and purchase documents. Say if you are purchasing something, some agreements may have been entered into. Review consignment agreements. So these are all things. Yes, question number 9. CAJ is appointed as statutory auditor of Sigma and Beta Limited. During the audit, he observed that trade receivables amounting to 50 crores are reflected. So trade receivables जो है, these are 50 crores as on 31st March 24. He wants to obtain sufficient evidence to conclude that trade receivables have been valued. Now, this I had just explained to you at the beginning. What does valuation of trade receivable means? So again, you have to write all procedures relating to that. So how you would see that, how you would verify that trade receivables are properly valued. Now students would make mistakes, like somebody would write check sales bills that these have been posted in the correct amount. This is not going to fetch you any marks, because the question is asking about valuation. The question is asking about steps needed for verification of valuation assertion. Yes. What does this basically mean? That it is valued, that a trade receivable is valued here properly. Yes, Harshit, aging report is correct. Provisions for unrecoverable amounts, provision for bad debts, correspondence made by the entity with the trade receivables. This can be one of the procedures. And how the provision for bad debts or claims under litigation, or trade receivable balances under litigation have been made. What method has been applied? Yes, check the aging report is correct. So check, obtain the aging report, obtain the list of debtors under litigation, scrutinize those debtors which appear doubtful, say which are outstanding since more than 2-3 years, and there is no transaction, no credit has come. If provisions are made at appropriate rates considering recoverability of amount due, and how the right of amount has been authorized, who has authorized in the company, whether he has got power to do so. So remember, this point also can be used in many procedures. Proper authorization. This is also an important point. Like suppose Okay. Okay, clear sir. Students, ये इसको थोड़ा इसकी सेटिंग ठीक कर देना मनीष, ये इधर से पेज कट रहा है। ये पेज पूरा डिस्प्ले नहीं हो रहा, ये जो साइड में नाम आ रहे हैं ना आप, इनको हटा दो इधर से। So question number 10, students. Yes, students, you are able to see the screen. Please drop a mail, students. You are able to see the screen. Yes, guys, you are able to see the screen. Okay, Krishna. So see this question. Messrs. Veer and Associates is appointed as auditor of one company. During the audit, he wants to verify the trade payables and liability balances. It means trade payable and other liabilities that were supposed to be recorded have been recognized in financial statements. Which assertion auditor wants to ensure, and what audit procedures should be followed by him? He wants to ensure that trade payables and other liabilities that were supposed to have been recorded have been recognized in the financial statements. Which assertion he is verifying? And what are the audit procedures in respect of trade payables? Yes, Ms. Aksbanu, yes, you are writing correctly. Completeness assertion. Now what? So you remember the language. Whatever should have been recorded has been recorded. So it means completeness. So what should be the audit procedures in this regard to verify that all trade payables have been included in the financial statements? That say trade payable figure is rupees 10 crores, then no more trade payables exist which needed to be recorded in the financial statements. No, Harshit, now you are writing about obligations. The question is not asking about obligations. Now it is asking you to write those procedures which relate, which you would do practically to see that all trade creditors which needed to be recorded or all other liabilities which needed to be recorded have been recorded. It is not asking about obligations. Yes. Related to current year. What else? What specific other things? You have to write specific procedures. So like students like this. So you would select a sample of invoices Okay, select a sample of purchase invoices and see last. What you can do is you can say invoices which have come on the last days and see whether these form part of trade balances under the names of respective trade payable, under the name of respective trade creditor, because it is more likely that invoices which have been received in respect of purchases or other goods which are used by the entity, these are outstanding as on the balance sheet date. Yes, that is correct. All, Harshit, yes, you are correct. All goods received prior to year end should have been booked in the form of purchases and including creditors. Same thing. Match purchase invoices dates to gate entry date and to check whether purchases are recorded in the correct accounting period. So, like in case of sales, you would be seeing dispatch records. In case of purchases, you can see the record of inward challans, or say inward record, gate entry record. Normally in factories, in businesses, there is a gate register. So whatever enters in the factory, an entry is made. So you can trace some uh, fields in gate entry register to the purchase records, to the purchase account, and see whether bills exist in respect of those items. So it would help you in unearthing any trade creditor which is not uh, recorded in books of accounts. Like something has come in factory as on 31st March, but it is not booked in purchase account. Okay. Some raw material has come, but it is not booked in purchase account. But in the gate register entries there that goods have been received. Okay, so corresponding amount should have also been there in the purchase account, isn't it? So it would go to show that no trade creditor is excluded, that there are no goods which in fact have been received in the factory, but corresponding purchase invoice is not there. These have not been recorded in the purchase account, that purchase are understated. Clear? Review subsequent expense vouchers. So similarly, in respect of other expenses, the question is also talking about other liabilities, other current liabilities. Like there are many statutory dues payable, like GST payable, like provident fund payable, like ESI payable, like wages payable. So whether these have been paid in the next period. If these have been paid in the next period, so the same amount is there. So you can see, you can very well be assured that the amount which is there in the balance sheet, which is recorded in the balance sheet as on 31st March, is proper. Yes. Cartage inward record is also correct, Harshit. Tax liabilities is also correct. So if tax liabilities have been paid at subsequent date and that even amount is outstanding as on balance sheet date, it means that amount is reflected correctly. Clear? Now see this. Mr. Vayu is appointed as auditor of Prism Limited for a year. He wants to ensure that PPE has been valued appropriately. Now, this is the key word. Now, where the students are making mistake, they are missing out this keyword. Now, the auditor wants to ensure that PPE has been valued appropriately as per generally accepted accounting policies and practice. And Prism Limited has legal ownership rights over PPE. So it is asking about two things in question. One is valuation of PPE and another is ownership rights of PPE. So ownership rights, we have already done question about it, like title deeds, purchase bills. This is about ownership rights. Now, what about valuation of PPE? How you would ensure that valuation of PPE is proper in accordance with accepted accounting principles and policies? Which specific auditors you are going, which specific audit procedures you are going to apply? Yes. Opening, closing, deletion, Harshit, again, this would relate to completeness. The question is talking about valuation. Like in trade receivables, valuation is about relates to provisioning, allowances for bad debts. Now, what would it relate to in case of PPE items? What right specific things, friends? You know this. It's very simple. Just hit at the right word. Valued as per AS 10, what? So you can write 1 2 points about depreciation, amortization. That value of an asset goes down with the passage of time. So you would verify depreciation, all items, depreciation has been charged on all items. You would verify depreciation method used, whether it is SLM or WDV, whether the method of depreciation applied is consistent, whether impairment of assets has been done if required as per AS 28. So these things, this is the meaning of valuation in context of PPE. So remember these small tricks, small tips. Like in case of PPE, if valuation comes, I have to write about depreciation. If you keep this in mind, then you would never make a mistake. Yes, Ms. Bhavesh, AS 28 is also correct. Yes, Anurag, whether Prism Limited has charged depreciation on all items of PP except land. And ownership, we are not again going to repeat it because ownership, we have done 2 questions about it. So you already know, check title deeds, etc. Now, this question number 12. Yes, students, you are understanding what I'm trying to say. Yeah, mail will kar do that you are getting what I'm trying to say. Only then you will be benefited. Yes. Z Limited is engaged in manufacturing and export of shoes. It is a manufacturing company. It is engaged in manufacturing and export also. Export of shoes. The statutory auditor of company wants to ensure that only the inventories recorded in financial statements are owned by the company and doesn't include inventories that belong to third parties. but includes inventories owned by the company but lying with the third party. So what are the procedures? कौन सी assertion की बात कर रहा है? Which assertion it is talking about? That inventory includes items which are owned by the entity, although it may be lying with the third parties, but it doesn't include the inventories which belong to third parties or lying with it. Like sometimes it so happens that a company, besides doing its own sales, is also doing job work. So then in this case, reverse would happen, that some inventories would be lying in its premises which do not belong to it, which are owned by other parties. So obviously, although these are lying in the entity's premises, these would not form part of inventories as far as this entity is concerned. Yes. Which assertion this is talking about? And how you are going to verify it? Yes, obviously, Harshit, you are writing correctly. So which audit procedures you are going to verify? You would write like you can make some analytical procedures also, like computing inventory turnover ratio, that is cost of goods sold upon average inventory. So in that case, you can come to know about variations between one period and another period to see whether there is some abnormal holding of inventories. Some inventories belonging to other parties which are lying there might have been included, and inventory may be overstated. Okay. Perform vertical analysis, inventory upon total assets. So if you see this again, you calculate a percentage, you can see whether there is abnormal holding or not. And reconcile physical inventory counts with the stock records. This can also uh, reveal any abnormal items. Reconcile inventories which belong to the client but are held with third parties by seeking confirmation, which you have already held. Okay. Harshit, you are writing cut-off test क्यों करेंगे? It is asking about purchase and sales cut-off test. It means that purchases which have been received, which have been booked in the up to 31st March, all inventories relating to that have been um, shown as inward in the stock records. Okay, and all sales which have been booked up to 31st March, all inventories in respect of these have been shown as outward. Okay, only then it would provide a correct picture. Yes, Harshit, is it clear? Read question 13. Yes, this is altogether on a different matter regarding cash and cash equivalents. Very simple, and you can answer it from common sense. It relates to BRS, bank reconciliation statement. while verifying cash and cash equivalents of a company, CAD is very particular that BRS is prepared by the management. Now he wants to ensure that bank reconciliation statement is prepared by the management in respect of bank account maintained by the company. And the company doesn't use net banking and prefer to issue checks to its creditors and receive substantial payments locally through account pay checks. Which aspects need to be taken care of by CAD in respect of BRS? Now, the company is preparing bank reconciliation statements. The question is just asking you to state 2-3 steps which you would keep in mind while verifying BRS, while verifying bank reconciliation statements. So about bank reconciliation statements, I think you have read at your foundation level. So just what you have read in respect of bank reconciliation statement, from your knowledge of bank reconciliation statement, you can make 2-3 points and write these are the procedures. Yes. What do you verify in a bank reconciliation statement? No, re-performance is okay, but the question is asking something different. It is asking which aspects need to be taken care of and verified by CAD in respect of bank reconciliation statement. Yes. So again, imagine there is a bank statement lying before, bank reconciliation statement lying before you, and ledger account is also open before you, which shows bank account of the company. Okay. So the company has prepared a bank reconciliation statement. Now it shows certain reconciliation heads. So you have to write about those things. Yes. Now I've given you the clue. Oh, Harshit, you have to be more particular. Does checks are properly debited and credited? No, it doesn't convey anything. Go to your foundation class, foundation period, and remember which heads were there in the bank reconciliation statements. No, Miss Mansoori, amount of transaction. How bank reconciliation statement is prepared? Tell me. Remember 2-3 things. Checks issued but not presented for payment. Checks deposited but not credited in bank. Remember? Remember these simple things? Yes, Anurag, check balance as per bank statement and balance which is shown are matching or not. Yes, this is a valid point. And within the bank reconciliation statement, you would see these things. All, whatever reconciliation has been prepared, you would see that these items are correct. Like checks issued but not presented for payment. There may be certain checks which have been issued by the management as on 31st March, but these have not been presented for the payment. These have been presented in next year. So obviously you are going to check those points, and you would be obtaining statement of next year, bank statement of next year, to see whether these have been presented in bank in the month of April or not. Similarly, checks deposited, there you may be having some checks which have been deposited. You deposited it on 31st March, but the credit was given by bank on say 1st April or 2nd April. So again, you would be seeing the bank statement for the next year to see that these amount have been credited. This would give you evidence that bank reconciliation statement is prepared correctly. Clear? Yes, students, is it clear? I think we'll be taking a short break of 5 minutes and come back again after 5 minutes. Yes, Manish, break for 5 minutes. Yes, welcome back, students. So see question number 14. Now read this question, and we have done a similar question, and tell me what is to be written in this question. Yes, come on guys, very simple. It is asking about two things. Comment on significance of such a variation and suggest audit procedures in this regard. Now read the question yourself, question number 14, and tell me how you are going to write its answer. Yes. Yes, Miss Mansoori, Harshit, Miss Bhavesh. Yes, how you are going to write? Yes, Mr. Money One. Yes, students, waiting for your responses. Please write 2, 3 lines. Yes, yes, rightly identified. Miss Mansoori and Harshit. Depreciation, depreciation methods, because the question is talking about valuation of PPE items. So, but it is also asking from you, first part, procedures is second part. First part, it is asking from you something. Comment on significance of such verification. Now, physical verification, Ms. Bhavesh, it would relate to when you have to write about existence as assertion. Here we are talking about valuation. So first of all, you will write comment on significance of such verification. That auditor wants to ensure that all PP items are valued properly. Why it is important? Significance means importance. Why it is important? Simple accounting, basic accounting thing. You have been reading about it in accounting standards, in as a normal accounting thing. Yes. What you would write in this section? What is the importance of performing procedures relating to valuation? Yes, the amounts are not under or stated as per 10. But again, elaborate it, Harshit, how it is going to affect financial statements. Yes, we'll get correct value of PP. That's so you would have to write that the value of PP items except land, it diminishes with the passage of time due to usage, due to a flux of time, and so depreciation is required to be charged in accordance with standard accounting practices, policies, and uh, otherwise these items would not be properly stated in the financial statements. Therefore, such a verification is important. If depreciation is not charged, then the profit and loss would also be vitiated, and values of PPE would also be not proper. Okay, and then you would write. So how simple it was. You know, you are studying CA course, so you know the importance of depreciation. But the question is that you fail to understand the full import of what a particular question is asking from you. What is the demand of a particular question? Okay. Now see question number 15. Identify and explain the assertions that the auditor will check by following the following audit procedures. Now different procedures are given. You have to tell which assertion is being talked about in these procedures. Now, employee benefit expenses recognized during the period relates to the current accounting period only. Which assertion is talked about? Relating to class of transactions. Answer all three. Employee benefit expenses in respect of all personnel have been fully accounted for. And any inventory held by the entity on behalf of another has not been recognized as part of inventory of the entity. Yes. Give answer to all these three. Yes. Harshit and Aksvanu, you have given answer to 1. What about 2 and 3? Yes, students, waiting for your responses. Yes, you are giving different responses. Fourth is also there. So first is cutoff. And second is completeness. Harshit, how you are writing second as what you are writing accuracy. Now see, it is stating employee benefit expenses in respect of employee benefit expenses in respect of all personnel have been fully accounted for. So what does this mean? Employee benefit expenses in respect of all personnel have been fully accounted for. All personnel. It means that there is no person, there is no employee whose amount has not been recorded under the head employee benefit expenses. So it means completeness. Clear, Harshit? Any inventory held by the entity on behalf of any other entity has not been recognized as part of the inventory. So this obviously relates to Rights and obligation. Rights part. Yes, Harshit, is it clear to you? Number 4, recorded sales represent goods which were ordered by valid customers and were dispatched and invoiced in the period. Fourth, recorded sales represent goods which were ordered by valid customers. It means that customers, in fact, were there to whom the goods were sent and sales were made and deliveries were made. So what does this mean? Yes, Anurag, you are right. This is occurrence assertion. So Anurag, you have to write correct name. It is, since it is a sales transactions, for sale, when a transaction has happened, we call it as occurrence. In respect of account balances, we use the term existence. So remember this distinctive point. Recorded sales represent goods which were ordered by valid customers and were dispatched and invoiced in the period. Since when these were ordered and dispatched, it is and invoice was raised, it is why the sales has taken place. It is why that we have used it. Harshit, I have already answered your question. So look, it says recorded sales represent goods which were ordered by valid customers. Now tell me what it has got to do with cutoff. Ordered by valid customers. And if sales have taken place, then obviously dispatch would have taken place. And probably you got confused by the period. But it is not asking about appropriate. It is not using that word. Okay. I am saying you that I have already given you an answer, that you have focused upon period. So just a minute, students. I would again share the files with you. Pen is not working. Yes. Clear? Now see 16th question. CA Tripti is in midst of conducting audit of a company engaged in manufacturing a range of bicycles in industrial township located in North Indian state. As part of its activities, the company procures bicycle components from various small and medium-sized enterprises. Besides, company imports few bicycle components from China on credit terms. Okay. The auditor notices that company has huge trade payables. Company is importing some components from foreign countries. some also domestically. So company has trade payables appearing in its balance sheet for which it has to make payment. He wants to be sure that all trade payables reflected in financial statements have been valued properly. Now, what is the meaning of valuation in case of trade payables? Now, you have read meaning of valuation in case of trade receivables. Now, here it is talking about trade payables. Now, what is the meaning of valuation in case of trade payables? Now, what was the meaning of valuation in trade receivables? We linked it with provisioning, with aging. Now, on same lines, how you are going to link valuation with trade payables? So that is just a simple procedure uh, for whether the total amount is correct or not. Ms. Mansoori, you have to write specific procedure relating to valuation. That would be just a checking of invoice with the invoice amount with the amount recorded in books of accounts. Valuation is something bigger, something broader than it. Yes, anyone, can you think, students? Aging report. Yes, that can be there, Miss Mansoori. Yes. Trade payables aging also takes place. So what would you get out from this aging report? Say there is an aging report of trade payables before you, which says that trade payables outstanding for say less than 1 year, between 1 to 2 years, between 2 to 3 years, and more than 3 years. So if there are trade payables more than 3 years, what does it convey to you as an auditor? Calculation of credit payback period from the payable balances. Yes, that is purely accounting, Anurag. So if there is a long outstanding trade payable as reflected from aging report, what does it convey to you as far as its possible impact on financial statements is concerned? Yes, Bhavesh, you are nearing. So the track that say one thing is that the company is no longer required to pay. That something has happened that the amount needs to be written back as income. So review the process followed by the company to identify any long outstanding trade receivables. Obtain aging of trade payables and see whether company has disputes and claims from customers under litigation and compare it with the previous years. Say there were some quality issues, the goods were defective, and the company says like we are not going to pay. The matter is pending. That party is not replacing the goods. Okay, so check that write backs in the trade payable balance have been approved by an appropriate and authorized person. The same points which were there in trade receivables, opposite of it. Okay. And since remember in question it is given that some parts are being imported from China, from foreign countries. So obviously AS11 also applies. So valuation issue, the amount which is payable in foreign currency has been properly translated in accordance with AS11, because in India balance sheet would be prepared in Indian rupees. Okay. Understand the management's process to identify principal amount and interest due, MSME. There is a separate requirement under Companies Act to disclose trade payables in respect of MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises. Okay. Now again, question on inventories. Now read this question. During audit of Rapid Industries Private Limited, CA notices that inventories of, now read carefully, inventories of raw materials and consumables. This is one end, inventories of raw material, consumables and work in progress amounting to this much and this much, 2.5 crores and 25 lakhs are outstanding as on 31st March 24. So the question is asking from you one thing about raw material and consumables and another thing about work in progress. He wants to verify that above mentioned inventories, he is not talking about finished goods, remember. So if you write some point about finished goods, cross, no credit. So he wants to verify that above mentioned inventories have been valued appropriately and as per generally accepted accounting policies and practices. How he should proceed to verify above. So you have to write procedures relating to valuation of these two things. Which procedures you are going to write? Yes, guys, which procedures you are going to perform for valuation of raw material and consumables and for work in progress? Yes, these are separately valued as per AS2 on cost or NRV basis. That is correct. What else you would be right? This is one procedure. What else you would write? Obviously, in a 4-5 marker question, you have to write 4-5 procedures at least. Yes, Ms. Mansoori, check purchase invoice, correct. Confirm cost of raw material purchased with suppliers, yes. Confirm that raw material which has been valued at cost include, say, costs which are incurred to bring it to the location. Okay, like carriage inward, cartage, transport. Yes, Harshit, for WIP, which stage? Yes, for WIP, how WIP has been determined depending upon the stage of production, and how allocation of different cost heads has been done to determine the cost at which WIP has been valued. This you have to write. Reference to AS2 has to be given. Yes, Ms. Bhavesh, it is right. Yes, what Anurag, you are also correct. What element of costs are included? Checking the cost price is also correct. Okay. Now again question or on assertions. Now Harshit, you are saying for raw material and consumable inward report to be verified. Obviously, but inward report obviously would be relating to the quantity. Here we are talking about majorly about valuation issues. Yes, all four assertions. These are same, Zao. This is again same question. Same question. All are same. So we have already done it. See question number 19. Yes. Read question number 19 and see what should be its solution. Yes, Anurag, that is also correct. See question number 19. Yes. Audit procedures to ensure that sales are accurately measured as per accounting standards, correctly journalized, summarized, and posted in the financial statements. Yes, that is a key point, Ms. Mansoori. Sales are valued in accordance with AS 11, right? Because the company is also dealing in international market. It is written there that it is making sales to international market. What else? Which other procedures could be involved? So one is correct, which Mansoori has given. So check few sales transactions from beginning to end and how revenue is recognized. That is very important because the question relates to measurement of sales. How here in this case, how revenue is recognized. So when property has been transferred to the buyer, and compare rate of sales affected with the related parties. Transactions have been carried out with at arm's length price. These can be there. Now see question 20. Now tell me this question is about what this question is all about. Read this question number 20. Yes, Anurag, you are also writing correctly. While auditing the accounts of PQR Limited, a member of audit team wants to carry out tests of controls for checking effectiveness of internal control over sales as part of debtors audit procedures. Now, this chap is performing certain audit procedures over trade receivables, over debtors. Now, debtors, as you know, are related with sales. These are created because of sales having taken place. Yes, yes, Harshit, you can give. So you tell that what points need to be considered for checking effectiveness of internal control over sales. Now you have to write 4 points regarding internal control over sales so that sales are not overstated or understated. What is correct, that is only recorded. So for first of all, think on these lines. Like for sales to take place, what first of all you should have? Tell me this. If you want, if you are not in the retail business, if you are not a shopkeeper who is uh, seeing footfall of customers, so for having sales to take place, which first thing would you have first? No, but Harshit, that is to be written in different way. You are saying debtors to be authorized by competent authority. So debtors come later on. First of all, what would come before debtors? What would take place? Yes. Before debtors, what would take place? Sales. And before sales, what would be there for sales to occur? Yes, sales transaction. What would be there before sales? Yes, agreements, orders. So these can be written orders. These can be formal orders or oral orders. So only bona fide sales lead to trade receivables. So all sales are made to approved customers. It means if you have customer base, if you have proper order and somebody has approved it, it means that obviously you would have received some payment from him, or you have entered into agreement with your customer. So it would be an approved customer to whom you are making the sales. So simple points. All sales are recorded in books of accounts, obvious. And once recorded, you have to receive the payment. The payment should come in your authorized bank account. So these are all the points which are part of the internal control. Debtors are reviewed from time to time, whether payments are coming or not. Debtors are collected on time. If not collected on time, if payment is not coming, then what follow-up is being made? Aging, provision for bad debts. So these are all general points, but you have to correlate it in the context of internal controls. So see the question. The question is asking you to write points for verifying effectiveness of internal control over sales as part of debtors audit procedures. Clear? Yes, guys, is the point clear? Now see question number 21. As an auditor of Star Limited, now this question relates to disclosure requirements under Schedule 3. Now read this question. You have read about CSR in your company law classes. Corporate social responsibility. So when a company undertakes any CSR expenditure, where it is required to undertake CSR expenditure in accordance with the relevant provisions of company law, then certain disclosures are required to be made in financial statements in this respect, in notes to accounts. So the question is asking about those disclosure. It is asking that as an auditor of Star Limited, which is a company covered under Section 135 of Companies Act, which matters should auditor verify to ensure that proper disclosures regarding CSR activities is made? Mention any four such matters. So you have to write, you have to verify, and these matters have to be disclosed in the notes of accounts by the management. Amount required to be spent by the company. What was the legal requirement? That how much amount was to be spent? Amount of expenditure actually incurred. Short, if there is a shortfall at the end. Total of previous year shortfall, reasons for shortfall, nature of CSR activities, which activities were performed. Okay. Like some activities can be performed by the corporates, by the implementing agencies. So which activities were performed? So like this. Now see question number 22. Read this question and see how it should be answered. Question number 22. See what this question is all about. Yes, Harshit, okay. This summary of questions, it has been taken from previous years MTPs, RTPs, and question papers. And also from your module to let you know that of which type questions are coming. Yes. So what you are going to write? So first of all, the question is asking from you that the company has shown this software they are showing for 2 crores. The company has purchased a software which is not an integral part of related hardware. Okay. And the rupees 1 crore they have spent on some research of an internal project. So they have presented these figures in balance sheet. Software 2 crores, research 1 crore. So whether this presentation is correct, and Mr. R further wanted to ensure that addition to intangible assets have been recorded in financial statements of Pen Limited Private properly. Guide Mr. R. Now, how would you, first thing is whether this presentation is correct or not. Second is how you would verify addition to intangible assets. Now, similar question we have already done, but it is again in different form. Yes. Yes, Harshit, intangible assets should have to be separately presented under intangible assets. Other things, what mistakes you are able to find out? Yes, Ms. Mansoori, you are right. Research expenditure shall be charged as an expenditure, and software would be recorded under intangible assets. Yes, Ms. Bhavesh, you are also correct. Reference to AS26, you have to see. So first thing is this, then audit procedures for additions. Now, first of all, for verifying additions, you would see if something has been debited is being shown under intangible assets, then it should meet all the criteria under AS26. Okay. And again, another point relating to research, which the question has already asked. Check the certificate or documentation maintained by the entity to verify the date of use of intangible asset. Verify again the additions have been approved. Now, this is a common point. This can be used in PPE, this can be used in intangibles, this can be used in write-offs, this can be used in aging, this can be used in write-backs. Okay. So how, another thing is, now the question is asking about additions. So how the intangible asset was acquired at the first place, whether what is the internal control regarding it, whether tenders were called, whether or some other procedure was followed to procure the intangible asset. Okay. Yes, next question. Now identify the following assertions. These procedures are given, identify the assertion. Employee benefit expenses do not include the cost of any unauthorized personnel. That means that all employee benefit expenses have been booked for the genuine employees. There is nothing in the employee benefit expenses which relates to uh, ghost employees or employees which do not exist. Yes. Number one. Harshit. Now, first of all, tell me, Ms. Mansoori, you are writing about valuation. First of all, tell me whether employee benefit expense, it is whether it is an example of a transaction or it is an account balance. Then you would be able to write correct assertion. Yes. Harshit, you are also You are writing 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 3 answers you have given. Yes, Miss Mansoori, tell me whether it is a class of transaction or whether it is an account balance. How you have written valuation? So for class, it is a transact employee benefit expenses. These are charged to profit and loss account. It is a transaction. So for this, the assertion is occurrence. It means that the auditor is checking that whatever wages, whatever salaries have been booked, these relate to actual employees. That the transaction has in fact taken place. Yes, Harshit and Ms. Mansoori, is it clear to you? That transaction has in fact, that the amount which is shown in the profit and loss account, it has in fact been paid to the employees which existed, and the transaction has actually occurred. No, no, Ms. Mansoori, again you are writing incorrectly. Account balances are those which are appearing in balance sheet. Is it clear? All the items of inventory pertaining to the relevant year shall be included regardless of the location. Third is sales are recorded correctly in the books based on the invoices. Yes. Transaction or event, yes. Harshit, you are right. Yes, Harshit. Fifth is valuation. Inventory has been recognized at lower of cost or net realizable value. The entity owns or controls the inventory recorded in financial statements. It is again rights and obligations. Now, what is third? Sales are recorded correctly in books based on invoices. Yes, accuracy or measurement, Anurag. Yes, you are right. Both terms can be used, accuracy or measurement. Okay, clear? Yes, Manish, unmute कर दो जरा. Yes, any student, you want to ask something? Yes, students, are there any queries? Your Zoom link is unmuted now. अगर आपको कुछ पूछना है आप पूछ सकते हैं. आपको बात करनी है बात कर सकते हैं. पेपर के बारे में, लिखने के बारे में, इस चैप्टर के बारे में. Yes, anybody who wants to talk on Zoom? Yes, students. Yes, ma'am, you want to say something?
Yes. So students, if you have any doubt, you can ask in the chat, any doubt regarding this chapter or any chapter of this subject. Okay, I think no.
No
Okay, so
one,
thank you
no
so
one
much.
is interested in talking. Okay.
Mm. Okay, so thank you so much, Ashish sir, for this wonderful lecture. And students, today we
Thank
have
you.
completed the chapter number 5, Audit of Items of Financial Statements. The coverage, the weightage of this chapter is 12% to 20%, which is huge. Okay, so do not leave this chapter. And most of the students leave this chapter, but do not do that mistake, because the chapter is very easy. If you understand this chapter from logical side, okay, you will find it very easy. The type of questions, as you have seen in today's class, are being asked from this chapter is like you will be given a situation in which you have to identify the assertion and write the audit procedure. Okay, so for identifying which kind of assertion is this, you have to read the question very carefully. And most of the students ask that do they need to write all of the audit procedure given in the study material? It depends upon the weightage of the question. Okay, what is the requirement of the question? How much audit procedure question is asking from you? And if it's not specified, you have to write as per the weightage. For example, if the question is of 4 marks, you have to write 4 to 5 or 6. You can also write. And if question is of 5 marks, you can write it accordingly. Okay, so you have to decide that how much audit procedure you have to write. And okay, okay. So students, any doubt you can ask, otherwise we'll wind up this class.
Yes, yes, guys, again, I am requesting to you, if you
You
have
can ask
any
down.
doubts, if you have any
Yes.
doubts, you can raise your hands. If you want to ask anything about the paper, about how to write the answer, any other thing, any other issue which is cropping up in your mind, please feel free to ask. Do not hesitate. You can ask in Hindi. There is no language issue. You can ask in Hindi, English, in whichever language you are comfortable.
And of any chapter, not just chapter number 5, of any chapter, because your
Yes,
exams are
yes.
very near. So all of your doubts should be cleared. Okay, if you do not have a doubt right now, and if you face any issue after this class, you can reach out to us during through the Ask My Query feature in the BUS mobile app. Okay, and your next class is scheduled on Thursday. So thank you so much, sir, for your time and efforts.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, students, we are winding up the session. Thank you. Good night. Good night to all of you. Yes.
Over. Manish.